Welcome back, everyone. I have been setting some things up here in the background, trying to make this show as good as possible this morning. How are you all? I hope everyone is doing well. I'm just pulling up a couple things here. Do want to I want to be able to see all your guys' stuff. Okay, there we go. So I did speak with the Grangers, and for those of you who joined yesterday's live stream, they do not want any type of help. Um, they recommended all the money that I pulled in yesterday to instead give that to. Oh, good morning. They recommended. Oh, sorry, I just realized I minimized when I didn't want to minimize. There we go. I want you guys to be able to see. Let me remove that. Hold on, I lost the chat because I'm an idiot and I messed it up. Here, let me go into boom. Okay. One quick second here. Yeah, they wanted me to give the money that we got to an existing charity of my choice. I just want to help them out as best as I can. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this to fit the right way, the way that I want it. Why is this? There we go. I'm getting there. Bear with me. All right, there. And I might have to do this on a couple of the other views. There we go. I like it to where you guys can all see the chat. So there we go. I got the chat back up there. I don't like the look of that. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. Thank you for being so patient. I minimized, and when I minimize a browser, it throws everything off. So I'm learning. I am learning. Let me get my other one right with this. So that way you guys can see the chat there. There we go. All right. So make sure you guys are hitting like on the stream, because that helps me get out there and helps more people find us. I do want to get into some of the news of the day this morning. Sorry, I'm not. Yesterday and today, I'm not on the top of my game. I was out late. I've had some medical stuff going on, medical appointments and whatnot. So I've just been all over the place, and I'm still recovering from my, family here, which they were a big help. But they left, so I've got to get back into my normal routine. And my coffee mug is dripping on me. Oh, I know. I've got it on the wrong side. One side it drips, the other side it does not. So yeah, if I have it set up for left-handed, it drips on me. All right, so you can see this is the military time scene. Let's see what they have here. I was not on here. Did I see? Okay, yeah, I did see this story. An Air Force 2-star pleads guilty to sexual assault. And it's just really sad that this is as rampant as what it is in the military. I do want to make sure that I'm giving a shout out to all my veteran friends in Texas. We do have a veteran nation presence there. Sorry, I'm just looking. I gotta charge some of my stuff. I was too busy doing other stuff to set up for the stream. I didn't do my normal stuff. Gotta get all these things plugged in. There we go. I don't want my iPad to turn off. That's got my soundboard. And I like having fun with the soundboard. I gotta add some more sounds. Maybe that's what I'll do this weekend is edit some more sounds for the soundboard. Whoa. That was me. I bumped the keyboard. Let me get my power cord in first. Come on. Does not. There we go. Did not want to cooperate. No, we don't want Google help. Air Force Major General Philip Stewart. He's accused of sexually assaulting a woman last year, and he pleaded not guilty. Here's what I would ask. How many times has he been accused of sexual assault or sexual harassment in previous years? Because that's always the key right there. Good morning, everyone. We got Belinda in here. We got Tom. We got Linda. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you all here. He pursued an unprofessional relationship while playing within 12 hours of consuming alcohol. Not good. He's the second Air Force general to face court-martial for sexual assault. They've argued that the sex was consensual. Well, is he married? Because adultery is illegal in the military. Okay, last year. So he's a general and he's still flying. That's what I take from this. They have potential jurors. Okay. He filed paperwork with Air Force Secretary seeking to retire in lieu of court-martial. That's what you normally see with these higher-up people. They allow them to retire with full pay and benefits instead of court-martialing them. The only problem with that is there's nothing on their record when they do that. Yeah, this thing is dripping on me, both sides, so I'm just gonna take the lid off. I'm gonna go rogue. This morning with the morning coffees, if you haven't joined them before, it's kind of like a free for all. So if there's anything you want to talk about, I'm very scatterbrained. I do go through. This is when I read like the big stories of the day. So if there's anything you want to talk about, just throw it in the chat. If it's anything with any of the what the Hales. I know we talked about Madam Mayor yesterday. If you want to talk about that stuff, I did put out a short this morning, and I'm seeing that people are watching it. It's a story that's going to get bigger, and it's on a potential casino down in Biloxi, Mississippi. And I've already talked to one of the lawyers involved, and this is going to be a much bigger story. I'm jumping on this very early. So the lawyer that I discussed it with, he pretty much has been working, him and his partner have been working to get this gentleman all of his stuff for a gaming license so that he can build this casino. And from what I understand, everything's been going good. They've got the building, everything they need. And the last bit was he just had to go and fill out his last stuff for his gaming license. So he goes there to the state office to sign all the paperwork, get his gaming license, and prepare for his grand opening. And I should say the other casinos are not happy. These are older casinos in Biloxi. They're not happy about him starting a new casino, obviously, because it's more competition for them. So there's that. But he hasn't been outright opposed, from what my understanding is now. Uh, but he went in to get his gaming license, and that's when they realized he's a black man. And all of a sudden, then, there were problems with his gaming license. The lawyer and all the paperwork and all the filings, everything they did up until then, everything was perfectly fine until he shows up and they realize he's black. Now, they have his license on hold, and there's an emergency measure being pushed through the Mississippi state legislature that would stop any casinos from being licensed in the area where he's looking to license his casino. Now, I picked up this story for a couple reasons. One, Biloxi is a very big military community. Uh, I've never been there, but I actually may be going there depending on how all this plays out. So it's going to affect a lot of veterans, and there's veterans there. They need jobs, stuff like that. So there's good and bad, because obviously when there's a casino, you run into the normal bad things about a casino. But there's good and bad that affects veterans in this area. So I picked it up for that. The other thing is, as you all know, I am against harassment and corruption. Here, let me switch to solo. Sorry, I've got my coffee right in front of my Stream Deck, so I should do it this way. So the casino is now on hold, and it looks like they're trying to prevent it completely after this guy has invested, millions of dollars, all because, and there seems to be no other reason, because what they're claiming is the reason is something of the manatees. And I'm just noticing that the chat is not updating. There we go. So they're claiming that the reason is because of the manatees and because of climate change. And so there's all this, that's all the talk behind the bill. But this casino is not located on the water. It's not in the coastline. Apparently, it's not in any of the tributaries. This is just a way to stop him from building his casino. So I'll try to have more conversations with the attorney. Obviously, they're very busy with this, but they're talking about, there's people talking about protesting. So I'm going to keep following it, and if I need to get involved more, I will. But that's going to probably be a national story. And yeah, so it's not good. Whenever there's institutional racism, a lot of times people scream racism, and I don't want to say that it's not legitimate. It's just not institutional. You can't change one person's feelings. If they're racist and biased, there's really nothing you can do about that. So you can't do anything other than just talk about it and highlight it. But with institutional racism, we can do something. And I'm already in talks with some other people about things that we could possibly do. So I put that YouTube short out this morning. You all may see it. And, please like, share, and subscribe, but just be prepared. That might be a bigger story for me in the coming weeks. Let me switch back here to stories. Okay, so we talked about the Air Force 2-star accused of SA. Congress wants Air Force to better explain reorganization plans. Okay. Air Force to add 5 new Compass call. I did get a message this morning on someone. We were talking about the PACT Act. And the PACT Act is a great act that was passed a couple years ago, and it did a lot for veterans making disability claims. The problem with the PACT Act is while it's all about, for the most part, it's Iraq and Afghanistan, so I fall within it. The problem with it is you had to make your claims by a certain date. There was an expiration date. And now, from what I understand, John Stewart is trying to get the PACT Act a new one. And it's like, this is the problem. Why was there an expiration date written into the bill? This is what politicians do. They, rather than just pass a law that fixes the problem, they want to do patches. Because every time they pass a patch, it's, look what we did for veterans. Okay, you're not solving the problem. You're making it easy on us, and I thank you for that. But it's only a temporary fix. So those who don't know or who are dealing with, because I've dealt with many veterans who want to make their claim, but there's a lot of emotion in it. They've got to, they got to talk about things that are emotional from their time in service. So they try, avoidance is a big part of dealing with any type of mental thing. So a lot of them are going through avoidance, and by the time they are ready to file their stuff, it's expired already. And it's like, okay, we really didn't help them. So that's the problem. When you come to things with like the PACT Act and stuff like that, that's the problem with it. Master Storytellers, World War II's Ghost Army. I've read all this World War II stuff. I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just there's a lot out there. It's very saturated. I actually love learning about the Korean War because there was a lot in there I didn't know. And there's not a lot about the Korean War. It should be just as widely reported on. And it still applies today. I would love talking with some Korean War veterans. So if those watching, if you have some in your family, absolutely share this with them and let them know, their stories need to be retained for future generations. And I would love to just pick their brain. A Japanese osprey takes flight 4 months after. Okay. Sailors can live in... Oh, okay, I did see this a little bit. All right, come on. Open her up. Stars and Stripes doesn't want to agree with us this morning. What are you all doing? What's big in your lives? Any of these stories affecting you? Any stories are affecting you that you want me to talk about? Okay. Now, I really like this change. Some of the RV parks on the bases are very nice. Active duty sailors and their families may now spend entire tours at some Navy bases living in RV parks. Navy families enjoy Navy RV parks for recreation and leisure travel, but may also choose that option for up to a year while waiting for base housing to become available during a change of duty station. New policy... reduce stressors that come with military life. And I'll just say this, I knew Marines who lived in RVs. It was a really cheap option, especially there were a couple officers who had student loans. So this was a really cheap way for them to have housing. They were bachelors, so what do you care? They moved into an RV on base. They still lived on base, so they had all the benefits of living on base, and they were able to pay down their student loans, and it was a really great financial idea. So glad to see that the Navy is embracing this. For young couples going into the military, RVs and trailers are a cheap starter home. It's a way for them to get used to making a house payment. Obviously, they would have their RV payment they have to make on that. Also, their lot rent. But it gets people into that mode. But it's also cheap enough to where they can save a lot of their basic allowance for housing. Which, if you live in an RV, you do get full BAH. Are you coming up? The kitty's gonna come up, ladies and gentlemen. Conspiracy kitty. What conspiracies do you want to talk about this morning, huh? He just wants my attention. If the dog starts barking, I'll apologize. We have a new neighbor with a dog that, for the most part, stays outside. Glory, the service dog, um, is not happy, so she looks out the window here in this room and barks at the dog because this is where you can see the dog. Can you keep your tail out of my face? Thank you. Um, there's nothing up here for you. Yes, yes. So the cat's up here, so of course Glory's got to come say hello. Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, these RVs. They're a good way to get military families started. And if you have a military member in your family, one of the best ways for military people to create wealth is to use their VA home loan. And the VA home loan, it's bye. Okay, all he wanted was, I had one of my little twist ties up here for cords, and he likes to chew on them and play with them. So that's all Conspiracy Kitty wanted. So thank you, Conspiracy Kitty. Kang the cat. But with these RVs, it's a really good way for them to start off. RVs, yeah, they are a depreciable asset, but while they will depreciate, they're not going to go, completely depreciate. So then you can use them as collateral for when you do buy a home. But with military members with the VA home loan, you don't have to put any money down. You can buy a home, and what I recommend, because the military members I've seen who were the most successful is when they moved, they still kept that house and just went and got a property manager and rented it out, and did that over time. And especially if they did a 20-year career, then when several of them, when they were looking to retire, they just sold all their properties and were like, yep, I'm retiring. I've got all this equity in all these homes, two or three of them at the various installations where they lived over their careers. And we're like, yeah, we're just going to sell them and buy our forever home. And I know several who did that. Incredibly smart. I also know I knew a chief warrant officer when I was stationed in Abu Dhabi. I was stationed at the embassy, and I also knew a chief warrant officer there who I talked with him. He worked in Dubai. He had been there for 7 years. And the way it works in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, is everybody who comes there is on contract. They do 2-year contracts in general with a 1-year re-up. And he had done 2 years. They asked him to re-up for another one. He did another 2 years. They asked him to re-up again. And he only stayed for that last year to transition. And I was picking his brain. And I was like, why are you doing this? And he goes, oh, let me show you. So he pulls up his iPad and he starts going through all these pictures. He's like, this is the home. He goes, my wife was out here our first 3 years. She worked as a teacher out there. Made pretty good money as a teacher. And he goes, she went back and built this house. He goes, so the first 3 years, all the money we were making was going into the house. So we got this house. And it was a huge house. It was a brand new house, but it looked like it was like old school Southern plantation, right? Like big pillars, white. It's got wraparound, wraparound. I want to say awning, but that's not the porch. Both floors, and he goes, yeah, this house. He goes, I've got 10 bedrooms because I have 8 grandkids. And he goes, each grandkid has their own room. And then he was showing me they had a basement, and this thing was huge, and like it had like 2 pool tables, like a big like movie theater. Like this home was huge, and it was outside of Atlanta. I do remember that. And he was like, "Yeah, so the first 3 years here paid for that house." He goes, "These next 3 years," he goes, "I've got my military retirement, but all that is going into, my retirement savings." He goes, "These next 3 years are all going into savings as well." And he goes, "I'm never going to work again." And he starts showing me he built this huge pond, and it was being stocked with fish. And he's like, "When I retire this year, that pond, all the fish will start, being, um, pretty large." He goes, "I just want to hang out with my grandkids and fish." And I was like, dude, that's really smart. Because everybody out there in Dubai, almost every American I met out there was making 6 figures. The only ones that weren't were those of us at the embassy, and still most of the people at the embassy were making very good money. Um, there weren't people I knew hurting out there. Good morning, Sylvia. My nephew used that benefit in Virginia. When he retired, he sold the property and now lives in Colorado. Absolutely. It's one of the few things that you really can use to build wealth. So if anyone who's in, anyone who has served, use your VA home loan. And you know, it's just a really good way to do stuff. And if anyone wants to talk to me directly, feel free. You can always Twitter and Facebook. You can reach out to me, and I will happily talk to you about what I'm doing. Other ways, I've seen people build wealth in using the military. Sorry, I don't know if you all can hear it. There's someone on ATV nearby. Oh, actually, that might be a vehicle or yeah, a car. I'm out on the edge of town, so I get people who come out here and they love to drive fast or drive off road. So I'm always listening for it. 43 people here in the stream. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Make sure you hit the like button and share this as well. Wow, most everybody it's showing is on Twitter, but I'm not seeing any comments. So if you're on Twitter, I just want to make sure that everything is going well. Just put like hi or something in the comments, just so I can know that it's working okay. Because if uh, if if it's not working okay, I just want to know. But everything right now is showing me that the stream is very healthy. So unlike yesterday's stream where I was having issues, and yeah, it was my provider. A lot of the same, a lot of the same things. Hey T, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's showing me everybody YouTube. Only comments I'm getting right now. So if someone's on Twitter, just I'm not seeing any comments on YouTube either. We do have comments from YouTube. In fact, if you look right underneath me, right down here, I do put them up there, but nothing is coming in my chat window from Twitter. And I do that so that people on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, wherever I'm streaming this, so that you all can see each other's chats. That's why I put the chat window right down here on the stream. So hopefully someone in Twitter will say hello. If not, shoot me a DM, because I do have my thing here for Twitter. It is up. So let me see. Okay, I'm getting comments on Twitter, I'm seeing. And Patriot 911, they've retweeted our stream here. Thank you so much. Good people over there. I've done some stuff with them in the past. Make sure if you have a Twitter account, follow Patriot 911. Patriot 911 News. That's who they are. Nephew is in the Navy. My son is in the Army. Son is going to Germany for a second round. The first round was ruined by C-19. He couldn't travel like he wanted. C-19, is that spinal? Yeah. Traveling is also a benefit of the military. I've lived in other cultures. It can be a bit scary, but it also does. It helped me living in other countries because um, I got comfortable being uncomfortable, and it forced me out of my comfort zone to go learn. And now I've got friends all over the world. Some of them I talk to almost daily. Only seeing 7 comments in YouTube, including 2 from me. Now 3. COVID. Yeah, that's Oh, okay. COVID. Okay, COVID-19. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention too much. Sorry. Uh, yeah. So hopefully we get some comments from YouTube. So I want to show you guys this. I'm itching a little bit. If you're on Twitter, you saw I got stung by a hornet here, here, and here the other day, and now it's to the point where it's healing and it's itching. So if I'm itching and seem distracted, that's why. I had a button-down shirt on, and it was a beautiful day here. It was in the 70s. Had my windows rolled down. Went and got my mail, and I was walking into the house, and I felt something jab me, and it hurt. And I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I was immediately thinking, "Okay, we have the cholla cactuses, which really hurt. They're not fun at all." And sometimes, those will stick to something, and then you touch it, they stick all over. But it was this one right here that I heard initially, and then I got this one, uh, that one right there, and I was like, well, that's something. I started immediately. They hurt bad, so I started tearing off my shirt, and everybody that was around me was like, "What is he doing?" And I got it off, and it got me a third time, and that's this one, which is really itchy right now, and I was like, there's something in there biting me or whatnot. I was worried it was a black widow. But no, yeah, it was a hornet. So I started stomping on my shirt and I got it. I did get it. But yeah. I do want to give a shout out real quick to there's a veterans coffee company out there called Indies Coffee. They've been supporters of us here. They brew or they roast coffee for my co-host TC. We'll get back to doing the show on our regular. We were doing Mondays, but we'll get back to doing that show. But TC, check out his channel, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, MBRR. If you type that in, you can follow him. Really good dude. He's a 82nd Airborne vet. Well, they roast coffee for him that he sells, and that's what he does to support his solo channel. But they've been great supporters of us, and they have really good coffee. So check out Indies Coffee. It's run by a Marine veteran and his wife. Um, they I'm just closing down a couple of things here. They base all their coffee. He worked in Hollywood for a few years, so they base a lot of their coffee off different movies and stuff. But most of their profits do go to charity. They're good people, so make sure you're um, supporting them because they support us. Indies Coffee. Uh, I don't know who. Okay, this is the Daily Mail. I don't know who. Jimmy Allen's secret baby mama revealed. Country star quietly welcomed twins with married superfan Danielle Rice, whose husband of 5 years was dealt a great deal of pain. Okay. Okay, so she was cheating on her husband with him. Don't know who he is. Jimmy Allen. I'm not a big modern day country fan. I listen to the old stuff. How is this real female migrant is intercepted at southern border while wearing ultra expensive Canada Goose jacket and toting pricey iPhone? Well, yeah, that's the these people for the most part are not actually refugees. She's clearly Southeast Asian, so she's not a Mexican refugee. In fact, most of the people coming are not Mexican refugees. Even when they're Latin, they're coming from other Central or South American countries. But yeah, we're getting people who are infiltrating the U.S. Ba, 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 ba. murderer who was transformed to women's prison after killing mom and dad, claiming to be transgender, is caught having sex with a female inmate. Go figure. Like, anybody couldn't see this happening from like a mile away. I hate when they have these videos that automatically come up because it slows down the page so much. Some of these news companies, I don't get why they do what they do. It's like you're making it unreadable for your readers. Like, I'm all for you guys doing ads like these things over here. That's fine. But yeah, some of these, like, or automatic play videos, I hate those. Brian Kim, or Amber Faye Fox Kim, okay, that's weird, was caught having intercourse with a 25-year-old woman at the Washington Correction Center for Women March 14th. Kim was convicted in 2008 first-degree murder for fatally stabbing his father, Richard Kim, and bludgeoning and strangling his mother, Terry Kim. Have you guys ever seen the thing about the guy from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the killer there? He and his wife killed a couple to steal their yacht. I remember, I think it was Forensic Files I watched on. They killed this couple to steal their yacht, then tried to sell the yacht, didn't have like title or any of that stuff because obviously their plan sucked. And he is now in prison transitioning as well. So, yeah, really weird, really weird case. Corrections officer found Kim laying on the floor completely nude from the waist down with their cellmate, Nerton Censor A. Weird name, okay. On top of them, also nude from the waist down, actively having sex. Yep. So that's him as him. That's him as her. Okay. Kim was convicted in 2008 of 2 counts of aggravated first-degree murder for fatally stabbing his father, Richard Kim, and bludgeoning and strangling his mother, Terry Kim. So he's a family man. Ooh, thinking about moving. These U.S. cities pay you up to $20,000 to move there. I love these stories. I actually saw one. There's one in Ireland, and I would consider doing it. Moving to Ireland, they were going to pay like 6 figures for people to move there. And it's an island in Ireland that doesn't have a ton of people. But I do want to go overseas again at some point in my life to live because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy learning about people and things. I have a friend who made her way from Guatemala with her family and sought refugee from religious persecution. They got their citizenship and are valuable members of society. Yeah, there are good people. I know a lot of people are saying that they're fleeing for economic persecution. Religious, I could believe. And there are ways to, again, having worked at an embassy, if it's religious persecution, there are ways to request amnesty for that. For economic persecution, no, we do not recognize economic status for refugee status. Yep, it was in Washington State. I can agree. Not everyone is in that situation. Yeah, I can agree too. I want immigrants here. I do want immigrants here. I think we should close the border. I think we should make a couple of these border towns almost like a new Ellis Island. Welcome them here. Have services there available. Bring them in an orderly manner and be able to set them up for success with churches and nonprofits in the next place they're going to. But right now, it's chaos. It is absolute chaos. And that's not good for anybody. It's not good for them. It's not good for us. I really think we are on a path where, because of the immigration and the cartels, at some point in my lifetime, the U.S. is going to annex Mexico. And Mexico will eventually become a state or a number of states. That I'm convinced that's going to happen. This is becoming a big problem. As remote work becomes commonplace and the cost of living soars, some cities are offering relocation packages to attract newcomers. Compensation offers range from hard cash to perks like coffee with the mayor. Uh, so let's see where these are. Hopefully, you guys might know something about some of these places. Again, we've got 47 people here in the stream. Wow, 42 of them watching on Twitter. So please hit the like button, share it. Let me see if we. I'm not seeing any comments still. If you're watching on Twitter, please give us some comments so I know that I know that my stream is working well. Um, if not, just reply to the tweet and I can figure out what's going on with it. To be eligible, you are typically required to stay at least a year or even longer, and some deals are only available to certain groups, such as remote workers, and may demand a minimum income. Okay? So let's see where they's at. We got Bloomfield, Iowa. They'll pay you $10,000. I think I have heard of that. There's multiple cities in Indiana. Want to bet one of them is Gary? Not by the thousands and not using children to get in. Yeah, I agree. Child trafficking is a major problem with the border, and I do not agree with using children simply to be able to come over here. The cartels are absolutely using that as a way. Rochester, New York. Rochester. Got if you're up near Rochester, you're probably listening to Brother Wheeze on the radio up there. Um, yeah, Rochester, nice place. Multiple cities in West Virginia. You know, I love West Virginia. I think it's a beautiful state, and I've got family. You know, I grew up in Ohio. I've got family in Ohio, and they want me to come back to Ohio. I don't know if I ever will permanently, but I have considered relocating to West Virginia. There's a town in well, it's on the border of West Virginia. It's in Virginia, called uh, Winchester, and it's where Patsy Cline, where she is buried. I think she was from there, and beautiful, beautiful city. I was driving through and I had a deer run into my car. I didn't hit the deer. The deer literally ran into the side of my car, and I got stuck there for several hours. Um, and uh, Beautiful city, yeah, just beautiful city. So check out that place. Mayfield, Kentucky. Hmm. So okay, I will say this like town hall right there. I love that type of architecture, that early 1800s. I used to have a lot of that in Ohio. I used to love driving through those little cities in Ohio that were old and they had like all that stuff. I'm just checking on the health of the stream. Looks like we're good. Tulsa, Oklahoma is that throws me off. I've always thought of Tulsa as a big city. Same thing with Topeka. Like, not huge, but big enough city. Like, I'm thinking, like, these would be, to me, like, stops if you had, like, a band that's on the radio. Like, I could see Taylor Swift doing concerts there. That's what, when I think of big city, that's what I'm thinking. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. So we got Topeka, Tulsa, and Toledo. I'm in Indiana, north of Indianapolis. I've been through Indianapolis. I've never really stopped. I've been to Gary many times. Been to Muncie many times, or Gary, not Gary, but Fort Wayne, Indiana. Been there many times. I got stuck last year in Chicago, and I had to take it's the train that goes along Lake Michigan, the South Shore line. It goes from Chicago all the way to Michigan City, Michigan. And that was the only way I could get out of Chicago. There were no planes. I sat at the bus station for almost a full 24 hours trying to get a bus out, and thought twice I had a bus. I was just trying to get south because it was when that huge snowstorm. I was trying to get to Columbus, Ohio, and like I had family. I was like, look, if you guys can go to Louisville, I think I got a bus to Louisville. Nope, didn't work. And I finally was able to get to South Bend taking the train because a friend of mine who used to live in Chicago was like, are the trains running? I said, I think so. And we looked it up. They were. She was like, get on that, get out of the city, because once you get out of the city, because Chicago was just shut down, like everything shut down. I even had a hard time getting an Uber in Chicago. So I took the metro over to pick up the train, took the South Shore line. Once I got to South Bend, I had family. They were able to get from Ohio to South Bend quite easy, and then took me in the rest of the way. Okay, you're close to Muncie. Yeah, Muncie is a really nice city. It's home of what's his name? The guy that did Garfield, as I'm sure you're well aware, but everyone else in the chat, yeah, that's where like his name is. I'm drawing a blank, but yeah, he lived in Muncie, and a lot of the proceeds for Garfield went to Ball State University. Okay, Sylvia, thank you so much, letting me know that my Twitter. So I just have people on Twitter watching me and not commenting, and that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Just wanted to make sure. uh, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Now, there is a place in Missouri I was looking where apparently they built all these McMansions and didn't sell. So there's all these huge homes for sale, and just kind of rotting away in Missouri. And I was like, maybe I'll go back there and live for a little bit and try to fix one of those up. No surprise, Columbus, Georgia is on there. It turned into a crappy city. Yeah, I did see Columbus, Georgia. Is it really that bad? The only city I've spent some time in Georgia is Savannah. And Savannah is beautiful. It is beautiful. If anyone asked me to live in Savannah, I would do it in a heartbeat. Uh, just because it's such a beautiful city. YouTube folks and X folks can't see each other's comments unless they look at your screen, but both work. Okay, thank you, Sylvia. I do appreciate that. And yeah, that's why I put the chat window down here so you guys can see. So that way you're not like, he's answering questions that I can't see. And we have Conspiracy Kitty back on the stream. What is your favorite conspiracy theory? We can talk about them with the kitty. Is it chemtrails? Is that what you're here to discuss? He's looking for another another of the twist ties. Okay, yeah, people don't want to see your butt on stream. You just want loving. Okay, so here we go. Ruston, Louisiana. I've got a couple friends down in Louisiana. I wonder where Ruston is. Is that northern? My one buddy is down in southern Louisiana, and I actually have like extended family who live out in Baton Rouge, I believe. They're all cousins of my mom. Like, I don't know them that well. Only met them like once. Relocators to scenic West Virginia will receive a package consisting of cash and free outdoor adventure valued at $20,000. One of several deals across multiple states. Okay. The public-private program is offered by Ascend West Virginia and offers upfront cash incentive of $10,000, an additional $2,000 if you stay for 2 years.